Hey everybody, Andy here. Let's talk about Ash vs. Evil Dead, Season 2, Episode 2, The Morgue. Okay, in this episode we got... Well, last episode ended off with Ash and Ruby making a pact and fighting off Ruby's children in another morgue. Crematorium, I should say, in the crematorium. And this one starts off with they're going back to Ash's house in Elk Grove, Michigan, and his father's there, of course. And they decide they talk about where the Necronomicon is, and Ruby reveals that she hid it in the morgue. If you remember at the very beginning of the first episode, it shows Ruby in a morgue and she's running away from her children. She says she has hidden the book inside of one of the corpses there. So they decide to go back, and so this episode starts off with Ash, Kelly, and Pablo and Ruby go back to Ash's house in Elk Grove, and of course his father's there. And his father, you start to realize he's very much like Ash. They're the same people. They have the same corny jokes. They're always womanizing, and they're thinking about women and all that sort of stuff. So there's some good, there's good interaction between those two, and good interaction with at the end of the episode, Ash's father's hitting on another woman that you find out that Ash got with earlier, and now his dad stole her away. It's kind of funny. Anyways, that's not important to the story. Kelly, Pablo, Ash, and Ruby go up to Ash's room. It's a pretty cool room. It's like a throwback to whenever he left, like in the 80s. It hasn't been touched since the 80s, so that's kind of cool. You see all this old things from that era. And they find out that Ruby hid the Necronomicon inside a corpse in the morgue. If you remember, in the beginning of the first episode, it shows her running away from her children in a morgue, and she apparently has hid the Necronomicon inside one of those corpses. So Ash and Kelly go back because Ash still doesn't trust Ruby, and Pablo stays back with Ruby, and Pablo's intention is that he wants to get answers about his premonitions. Why is this happening to him? So Ash and Kelly leave and go back to the morgue. While that's going on, Pablo starts to interrogate Ruby, but she pretty much isn't having it, and he ends up having another premonition of Ruby killing him. But she seems to kind of know what's going on, but not really, because she says this is the first time this has ever happened. Necronomicon has never attached itself to anybody in any shape or form. So that's interesting. So Ruby kind of knows, but doesn't know at the same time. So that's going to lead somewhere for sure. Going back, this is pretty much a spoilers now area, because the rest of pretty much the end and the rest of the story happened in the morgue, which is one of the most ridiculous, funny, and entertaining fight scenes that has happened yet in the Evil Dead series, if you ask me. It's over the top ridiculous, but at the same time it's really gross and disgusting. And it has and there's some mancock in it. So just so you know, it's pretty crazy, it's pretty funny. Like I said, spoilers. You should watch it for yourself. But basically, I'll try to describe it. There's he finds a Necronomicon after cutting up like every corpse there. He finally finds it in one that obviously has like a book shape in the torso. So he could have just looked at all of them first and realized that this was the corpse that had the book in it. But anyways, the book basically is in there. He gets it out, but it's wrapped up in intestines. So he basically has a battle with this guy's intestines, and his wang's out the whole time, waggling around, and he gets his head shoved up this corpse's ass at one point. It's just it's absolutely ridiculous, and it's pretty damn funny. You should see it yourself. all said and done, he gets the book back, and everything's good, and they're on their way back to their house, and they have a little spat with some teens or early 20s guys that are out in the street, and you don't think anything of it until the end of the episode where they leave the Necronomicon and the book, the book in the car in the Delta, because they don't want Ruby to have it, and there's a Deadite in the house that Pablo and Ruby are fighting. So they leave it in the Delta, and at the very end of the episode, these teens come back and steal Ash's car, so that's how it ends. So now the Necronomicon's gone again. These teens don't have any idea that they've stolen a car with this crazy book in it, and that's how it ends. So basically those guys, or two guys, are probably going to die and whatever. But the next episode looks like it's going to be fun. They plan on throwing a party, so all the teens come in in the town. So that's how they think they're going to lure these two guys back. Instead of finding them in this small town, they're going to throw this big party because they know the teens will show up to the party. So, and there's like a mechanical bull, it looked like. So it's going to be pretty fun. It's going to be an entertaining episode, of course. So anyways, that's the episode. It's a lot of fun. It's a good episode. I like this one a lot. I liked it more than the first episode of the series. First episode was a little more serious. It definitely had some funny parts in it. But this episode was more over the top, ridiculous, funny, and I think that's what they were going for, and they did it great. So of the whole 2 episodes this season, this is probably my favorite so far. Anyways, guys, that was Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2, Episode 2, The Morgue, and go watch it. It's great. Thanks for watching. Do all that great YouTube stuff, like, subscribe. Anyways, thanks for watching. My name's Andy, and I'll check you later.